right, so it is a new week, and we're going to start off this week. It's a short week because we do have this 4 day weekend around the Easter weekend that was already built into the schedule. So this week you only have Monday through Thursday. Um, this was the Nearpod notes that was over adding and subtracting rational expressions with light denominators. You don't have the same document, but this example for 1 and 2 that you see on the screen and 3 and 4, you can always go back in Nearpod if you need to see that. And if you can't, if you ever have issues with Nearpod, just email me and I can always send you a new code if you ever want to get back into them. But right now, I'm going to go to where this is where you had to write in your answer. So there were 4 examples at the end of that Nearpod where I wanted you to draw it, and I was able to look at your work and kind of see some things that I can go over with you. So I'm just going to walk you through these now. So I don't expect you to remember what you have in Nearpod, so you may need to kind of redo them with me just on a separate sheet of paper. That might help. Okay, so the first one we are adding, and all of these problems right now have the same denominator. So that's where we're going to start. So I am going to add 3 plus r plus 2, and the denominator obviously is the same, so we're going to keep it the same. So when I add the top, I'm going to get r plus 5 all over the denominator, 5r minus 25. So technically, did I add those rational fractions? Yes, I did. So now I'm going to see if it simplifies. So the numerator cannot be simplified anymore. In the denominator, I'm going to factor out the GCF, which is a 5. So I have 5 times r minus 5. And there's nothing I can do here. These, the numerator and denominator, there's nothing I could factor out to make them be the same. So your official answer would be right here. Now I know you might be thinking, well, I factored out the denominator and nothing could happen. And that's going to happen sometimes. But it's important that you always check to make sure that nothing else will simplify so that your answer is in simplified form. Okay? All right, so let's go on to the next one. This next one is subtraction. So once again, we are going to subtract. Now on the video, the narrators made it really clear that you are subtracting the entire numerator of that second fraction. So it is ultra important that you realize we are going to have to distribute. I keep making it bolder. We're subtracting and we're going to distribute. We're going to take away x, and we're also going to take away 5y. So in reality, we have 4x plus 5y minus x minus 5y. That is what your numerator boils down to. Now, when I actually subtract, a 5y minus 5y cancels. So we are left with 4x minus x, which is 3x, all over 15x. Now, here comes the part where we go back to kind of the beginning of this lesson, which is to simplify. So our x's cancel. And 3 goes into itself once, and it goes into 15 5 times. So you should have gotten a final answer of 1/5. Okay? So hopefully you're either kind of thinking, oh yeah, I got that. You can go back in and kind of think about what answer you wrote. But now let's go to the bottom 2. They look a little bit more intimidating. Because I think we have a trinomial kind of in that second one as the denominator, but really not any crazier. so let's scroll up here so I can get ready to do this. All right, let's look at this first one. This is addition. And I do think it really helps when students kind of write what you're adding kind of in one big numerator. Technically, I guess I could write it like that too if it helps you see that we are putting everything over 12b squared plus 8b. So when I add b minus 1 plus b plus 5, b plus b is 2b, and negative 1 plus 5 is 4. So your numerator simplifies to 2b plus 4, and then the denominator we have 12b squared plus 8b. So did we add the two fractions? Absolutely. But now we have to simplify. So in the numerator, I'm going to factor out a GCF of 2. So I am left with 2 times the quantity of b plus 2. In the denominator, I am going to factor out a 4b. And so when I do that, I am left with 3b plus 2. Making sure I'm doing my math right. So this would give me 12b squared plus 8b. Perfect. Okay. So now let's see what we can simplify. Well, a 2 will go into itself once, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. And really that's it. So our numerator of our final answer would be b plus 2 all over b times the quantity of 3b plus 2. And that would be our final answer there. And then last but not least, we have one more. This is subtraction, so you have to be really careful. Every year I see students that make that mistake of not subtracting the entire in this problem n plus 3. So please be really careful. So I'm going to write 3n plus 15 minus n plus 3 all over n squared plus 7n plus 6. Once again, the denominators are strictly the same. We will not be moving into different denominators until next week. So we're really going to focus on letting you have a chance to get this part right. So right now, I have to remember that I am subtracting n and I'm subtracting the quantity. So that means we have 3n plus 15 minus n minus 3, and I can subtract all that because our denominator was the same for the two fractions. So I'm going to write that denominator again. It's not really like difficult, it's just a lot to keep organized. So our numerator, we have 3n minus n, so that's a 2n. And our denominator, we have 15 minus 3, which is a positive 12. So once again, we have officially subtracted these two rational expressions, but now we need to see if it simplifies. So in order to do that, I am going to factor out a GCF. So I have 2 times the quantity of n plus 6. The denominator is a trinomial, so let's factor that. It has a leading coefficient of 1, so that makes our life easy. So the two numbers that multiply together to give you 6 and add to give you 7 are a positive 6 and a positive 1. So sure enough, we have things that will cancel. So the factor of n plus 6 on the top will cancel with the n plus 6 on the bottom. And your final answer would be 2 all over n plus 1. And so that kind of wraps up our notes and the Nearpod kind of feedback answers to what you did last week. So what you're going to be doing now is you're going to practice this, and then we're going to tie in 7.1 to 7.3 part 1. So we're just going to stick with the things, nothing else. We're not going to learn anything new this week, okay? All right, thank you.